Cameryn. I am from Texas, and I came up here to Oklahoma to go to nursing school at Oklahoma Christian. I knew I wanted to be a nurse ever since I was like 15 years old, I think. Yeah. That's very common. And I knew going into school, or into college at least, it was going to be pretty hard because I've always been an average student. Mm-hmm. I've had to work super hard just to be average. Yeah. So I knew like going into nursing school is going to be hard. And it was. But I met Sam and yeah.
Starts crying. I'm Sam, I'm 23. I grew up in the city, Oklahoma City, and went to nursing school at Oklahoma Christian. Did 2 years at OU and then switched for nursing school at Oklahoma Christian. And yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I've kind of always known I wanted to be a nurse, help people. And yeah, I mean, it was hard, but we did it and we're here. We made it.
Thank God we're on the other side of it.
So yeah.
How long have you been a nurse since?
I've been a nurse since June of this year, so.
Like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. Right.
I just passed NCLEX. Our experiences were kind of different. I had to take it 3 times before I passed. And Sam, you can talk about your experience, but I took it 3 times, passed on the 3rd try. And yeah, that was 2.5 weeks ago, and I'm very happy to be on the side of it.
I passed the first time. I don't know how. Still don't know how. But yeah, I can't believe I did it. I thought I was never going to pass it, but here we are. Before
you took the test, from the time you graduated to the time you took your test, how long is that period typically?
It kind of depends.
Yeah.
You have to wait for your ATT, which is like permission to test, basically. Mm-hmm. And this year is a little messed up. It took a lot longer.
Yeah, it did.
But I think it can take like 2 weeks.
It can take 2 weeks, but it was like a month.
Yeah, it was a month for a lot of us. And yeah, from graduation to the time you get your test date, that's all you can think about. Like
there's
my brother.
No celebrating. I feel like there are no like graduation people or who you normally graduate. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad it's over. And we're like, it's not over.
Yeah, like it definitely didn't feel like we were done with school after graduation. There was still the NCLEX in the back of our mind. Yeah. And I know that was hard on a bunch of us, but yeah, there was like, before I failed the first time, I feel like I couldn't even have fun. I think I was just focused on studying because I knew I couldn't get a job for what I went to school for if I didn't pass. Yeah. And it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. So, I mean, how do you feel about failure? In your worlds, what does failure mean to you? What are the consequences? Things like that. What does it mean to fail? At your age, I mean, especially at your age as Gen Zers, what does it mean?
I think letting yourself down a little bit, because a lot of us aren't used to failure, especially something like this. No one's used to these kind of feelings. Yeah. I wasn't. I went through a little bit of a shock after I failed the first NCLEX. So yeah, you had to work through it, but I have good people around me. One of my friends, it's common to fail the NCLEX a couple times. Yeah. And I think people forget that. Yeah. I did. The first time I failed, I was so confused. Didn't know what to do. I didn't even cry because I was like, there's no way that this is real life. Yeah. But yeah, it is common. And a lot of people need to remember that because
I think it's like the worst part is like people asking you about it. It's like, oh, so like you're a nurse, like where do you work? Or like, I don't know. They just assume you pass. Like they don't, because most people don't even know there's a test.
A test, I know.
So.
Yeah, for the nurses that are graduating, they know that thing's coming. And they're preparing for like, semester, year.
Yeah.
Like, how long is it that you guys really focus on this thing?
I would say till 3rd semester, till graduation.
Yeah,
3rd semester is when they've really started saying like, okay, NCLEX prep, making us do the tests for it. And study things for NCLEX, not
I don't
content.
think I really started prepping, though, until after graduation.
No. Because you're so busy with school, too.
Yeah, and, like, graduating and that, and, like, then you have to study by yourself and not in class settings. And so it's a lot different. It's only based on what you know, not what someone's teaching you.
Yeah.
Like,
And, digging up all that material that you learned first semester that you're having to go over and master again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so I see this period after, like, there's like days that pass, a day or two that they wait to tell you.
It's different for every state.
Is it?
Yeah. Mine was 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
And then hers
Mine's 48.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay the $8 or whatever it is to then get your results.
Oh, wow.
She has to pay to actually get her results, but we just get a random email.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of different, like, because you have to type in everything and then see
Yeah.
it. So.
Are you kidding me? So if you pass, you know, but if you don't pass, you have to pay?
No, I had to pay for
Either way.
failing and for passing. I had to pay
Okay. And then, so I like what you said, confusion makes sense to me because, I mean, there's nobody's talking to you about this. Do they talk to you about what happens if you happen to not pass?
Vaguely.
I feel like they try to convince you that, like, I guess it's not really, like, talked about in nursing school.
No, it's really not.
They just talked about passing and that process. Nobody really mentioned what happens if you fail.
Yeah.
But
it's because, like, they don't, the schools, like, that's the last thing they want is for you to fail because it looks bad on them. So it's like.
Sure. So you think that's why they don't talk to you about the emotional coping that you.
Oh yeah, it's not even. I feel like it's not even like an option to fail.
No, like I'm pretty sure if we asked any of our professors what would happen if we failed, they'd be like, "No, you're not going to."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but it's a very real thing. We should talk about it.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. Like, there's got to be some support of some sort, you know, because it's not that you're gonna go into super deep depression, but like the confusion would be nice to have clarity, right? Like, who's there to give you that clarity? And it doesn't sound like they give you resources for that.
Especially for people who, like, because it takes, like, 2 weeks to get your ETT, and then you have to schedule it and all that. Like, that's a long time without working and money, and, like, some people don't have that flexibility. And, like, I'm glad that you did, and I did if I didn't pass. But, like, if we didn't, like, we would have been screwed.
What's ATT?
Permission to test.
Yeah. Okay. Why do they call it that?
It's called authorization to test, but it's basically just permission to test.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Okay. So, Sam, you pass and you're just, you know, feeling what?
Relief. Yeah. I mean, it's like happy, but like, I feel like you can finally like breathe. Like, I have a video of me like passing, and Cam was with me. And it was just like, I was just like so like in disbelief. I was like, I'm just glad.
We were driving down the turnpike.
Yeah. Okay, that's not good.
No.
I probably should have pulled it over.
We did get off the highway and she was like, I was like, it's okay.
Yeah, it's a fascinating thing and I think that's what the people watching this will be so interested in is what's the feeling? What's it like? You know, and that's what
I mean, that's what you're chasing your whole life. I mean, honestly, if you think about it, from when you start school, it's a long time.
Yeah. Defining moment for your life.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just the start of adulthood almost, I feel like. It's like the start of having a job and going and not having a choice to not go.
I know.
Like, for class, like, if we didn't go, we didn't go. But, like, we don't have a choice.
Yeah. So, from your perspective, you took it 3 times, right? And so the first 2 are total bummer, you know, and you're just figuring out what to do next and you just want to get it done. Is that you just want to go and time pass?
Yes and no. I would feel like the first time I was ready to test like the next day after I got my results because I was like, this is a mistake. We thought I was getting pranked for a little bit because that's how it feels. And I took like a week break from studying because I just didn't know where to begin on where to study again. I didn't want to open my books. I didn't want to open my computer. I didn't want to do anything. And I think after a week, I was ready to get my motivation back and I was ready to kind of studying again. Yeah. And you can test 45 days after you failed the first time. So the first time I did, I tested right at 45 and then failed again in 150 questions, which is the maximum amount. The first time I got 109, which was a weird number.
It's such a weird number.
But the second time I was like, okay, I know I have test anxiety, so I need to take a step back, take a lot of pressure off myself. And the best thing that someone told me throughout this whole thing was, she's a nurse at OE Children's, but she said, you're going to be a nurse. It just matters on this test and when. You're not going to be a nurse. Like, you are going to be a nurse. Yeah. It just matters, like, this test, and you got to get through it. Yeah. And so I really took that and I told myself that a lot because that's the truth. Yeah. You're going to be a nurse. You went to school for it. Mm-hmm. So you just got to kind of wait and be patient, which was hard because no one's really good at patience, or at least I'm not. Yeah. So, but the second time I waited, I think like 60 days. I waited till I was fully ready and I was fully relaxed. And yeah.
So explain that. What's this maximum amount to it? Like a layman from the outside that might not. I'm sure the nurses that are graduating might know that, but like.
Well, I didn't even know that when I graduated.
Okay.
Yeah, so they just switched NCLEX. It's called Next Gen NCLEX, which there's, what are the questions called? They're just like a different format, kind of. They're not select all that apply.
Yeah.
And they came out with that April 1st, and that's when they changed the like questions on it. So the least amount is 85, right? And the most amount is 150. Well, the minimum used to be 75, and the maximum was 250. I want to say it was 250 was the maximum amount. But it's a computer adaptive test, so which I fully don't really understand, but
it cuts you off like whether like on a certain number, so it'll give you a question, and say you get that question right, then it'll give you a harder question, or if you get that question wrong, it'll give you like
an easier question.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like computer adaptive, and so once you get to a point, I guess a percentage of passing or failing, it just like turns your computer literally black
off.
Yeah,
your heart sinks.
Yeah,
when it does.
Really? I was wondering that. I was like, wow, that would be freaking.
Yeah, and I got 145, and the max is 150, and so like it was just so odd. Like, and then of course you go to your car and you're asking everyone like, how many questions did you get? And like no one had got 145 questions, so I'm like, okay, I failed. Like, yeah.
So I don't really know if anyone understands the NCLEX or how it works, or computer adaptive testing or how it goes, but I think there should be some prep.
Yeah, I feel like we should take computer adaptive tests before we take the NCLEX.
I agree.
That's an interesting point. So maybe it's not the material, it's the actual methodology used to test.
I'm sure that has a lot to do with
you.
it.
Oh, yeah.
See, I'm hoping the nursing schools that watch this are going to realize that, like you want to really help people be successful, like do some exercise testing with that format, that adaptive, computer adaptive format. That's a great idea.
And even for me, I got a lot of anxiety over the testing center itself.
Yeah.
Because they scan your palms when you go in, when you go out. They pat you down, check your hair. Like, they make you feel like you're a criminal, honestly. Yeah. And so I know the first and second time, I was like, what is going on? Why do I feel like this? And I knew they were going to scan our hands and like pat us down, but I didn't realize how intense it was going to be. So the first time I went in, I was like, oh my God, what is going on? So I think maybe even preparation for that, to like talk at least about the experience.
Yeah, like walk you through what's going to happen. You're going to show up, and like, how good would that feel to know exactly what's going to happen, step by step. You're going to show up, this is this, this is that. Don't be alarmed by this, because it's how you feel, it's how you cope with how you feel on this one. And then once you're in it, this is how they test the adaptive test. You're going to get that feel from it. And then afterwards, like, call your friend, be ready to, have your friend on speed dial, whatever it is, tell you, walk you step by step and hold your hand. I think that would make them more successful. So now that you've been a nurse and you've passed all the stuff you need to pass and you're in the field, right? You're only 2.5 weeks, you're still doing orientation, sure. But, like what are some of the things that you didn't expect when you were going through school that you've seen or been exposed to? And I would say, globally, not just the incidents with the patients, but the whole structure of the hospital systems. And I think you're talking to a hospital executive right now and what you're going through and how, this is good and this would be nice to have. Does that make sense?
I would say definitely like more, there needs to be more like personal relationships formed, because for me, like we had 30 new grads that were hired, and like, it's hard to form a connection with your management when there's so many people, because you're just seen as a new grad, so to speak. And all new grads, of course, have like the beginner reputation and everything. But the things that I find is like the seasoned nurses some of them will actually come and get to know you. And so, I mean, it's all like, I say it's like a sorority almost, because like, if one nurse says, oh, like, I like her, then they're like, oh, okay. And it goes higher and higher and higher. So it's like, so to speak. But basically just like not being seen as a number, a new grad, and anything, just a nurse that needs, support for sure.
And a little more help than the others, because
yeah. And not to be judged for asking questions.
Do you make mistakes?
Oh, I make probably a mistake every shift. I mean,
Yeah.
But you have to. Like, there's no way anyone could go in and not make mistakes, for sure.
Yeah. Do you have successes?
Yeah, but I mean, like, they're like my little successes. Like, no one knows about it. Like, if a patient, like, I leave and a patient is like, you were the best, or like, follows me on social media afterwards, or sends me pictures of their kids afterwards. Like, those are like my little successes. But like, no one really knows about them except myself. So
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, the second I passed, I didn't even remember like studying for the last 2 tests or failing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, it completely wiped away. Now I laugh about it because I'm like, it's so dumb. Like, now I passed. I'm a nurse.
Yep.
And yeah, I had to go through the test a little bit longer than others, but it's fine. And I really don't think about it.
Now you're just more grateful for even like being a nurse.
I'm proud of myself too, because it was not easy some days to come down here and study.
Yeah, she got up literally every single morning and was down here grinding.
Mm-hmm. It was hard.
And like,
sometimes.
she would not like I would be like, hey, like, do you want to go do something? She's like, no, I have to study. And so it took a lot of commitment and a lot of like discipline within yourself.
Discipline's a good word.
Yeah.
Because especially like from graduation to the first NCLEX, all your friends are going on vacation.
Yeah.
And I went on one vacation with my mom and my friends. And my friends were all down at the beach. And I was in the beach house studying, watching like Hearst review videos and doing practice questions. So I look at that and I laugh, but
It's unique.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. I think it's beautiful. The thing about discipline is, it's not fun. Nobody likes the discipline part, but it's a choice every time. And I think what you just heard is somebody respected that you were doing that, and you hate it, but others are looking from the outside, kind of saying, "I wish I had that discipline." No matter what it is, Like, I think that I don't have discipline on certain things. It sucks. So I think the thing that the viewers probably want to know is like, what do you plan to do now with the opportunity of being a nurse? And like, if you were to give any sort of advice to them, making it through this point, like I heard something from you that I thought was really interesting. Like, school might have been easier, a lot easy, maybe not a lot of consequences with school. You could go when you wanted to, you could make up for it. You kind of learned but then real life hit was a test and there was no way out. There was no way around. And then curious how you feel about life now. Like, I know you're just getting started, but do you feel the same about life as you do about the test? Or do you feel the same about life as you do with like school, where you can work around it? You said you had to go. You had to show up.
Yeah, it's a lot different.
It's a lot different, right?
Yeah, I feel like once you start like working like 3 12s a week, like, it's weird. Like, I've had jobs in the past, but like they were teenager jobs,
right?
Or like
not adult girl jobs, like big girl jobs is what we call them.
And like getting like that paycheck is like so different because like how hard you worked for it, and like every single hour was so difficult, and like every single hour I'm like I'm glad I got paid, but it's such a different feeling. Like, it's like I deserve to get that pay. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's just a lot different, and like your social lives change. I'm on nights, so that's different, of course, but like, even like seeing my roommates, I barely see them when I'm working. And so it's just like a bunch of things change, and you really have to prioritize like what you want and who you want to spend your time with.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
You value it more?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Even I've been on orientation, but yeah.
Yeah, you'll get there. I mean, you work at nights. Is that what you're going to go?
I'll orient on days and then switch to nights, probably in January.
Okay. Wow. What's your feeling? Does it frighten you to work nights, or do you?
I probably scared the crap.
Okay, it's gonna vary if you ask like one person to the next.
Every person's different with nights. Yeah.
Some people love night shifts, some people hate it, some people are just like about it.
Yeah.
Sam doesn't like it.
No, I do not.
But I do know some people who love it. They are begging to get put on night shift right now because they're sick of days.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just one of those things that you have to take with a grain of salt about what people say about night or day shift.
Oh, for sure.
Because it's going to change. I mean, I might have a great experience.
Yeah.
But
I hope you do, for sure.
Me too, for the sake of everyone. But
awful.
I mean, I can't avoid being put on night shift.
No one can.
So it's not like I can complain about it, but it's not valid because I knew I was going to get put on night shift eventually. So
you were in sports, right?
Yes.
Okay. How does sports prep you for real life?
Mm-hmm. I would say soccer. I played soccer throughout college, or ever since I was little. I've always played soccer, but I played soccer and nursing school at the same time. That was crazy because I had to be up at 5:30, at the locker room at 5:40, and then practice and then be in the classroom at 7:40, Monday through Friday.
Yep.
So I would say that installed a lot of discipline in me. I had to be structured and hard on myself, especially like we would travel for games and I would skip class because I had to. Yeah. And I would have to reach out to the teachers, ask for all the assignments that I was missing. Yeah, I really nailed down time management.
Was it because you didn't want to get yelled at by your coach, or is it because, what was built in there that made you feel that consequence?
Yeah, I think, we would get in trouble for grades and on scholarships. If my GPA dropped, then I got scholarship taken away.
True,
yeah, and then also with nursing school, you have to get a 77 in every test. Yeah, every test, every class.
Every test, every class. You have to get
so if we didn't, then I would fail out. And I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I had to. It felt like there's no other option but to do good. I would stay up really late and wake up early and do all of the studying.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times I didn't go out on the weekends, hang out with friends because I couldn't.
Yeah.
So,
I played college baseball, and it was just, like you said, the regimen part. We didn't go in the mornings, but we had to be in class at 7:30 to check in before we went to class, and there was no skipping.
Oh, no.
But it was 4 or 5 hours a day of practice, and it just, it took away from that. Did you have a job?
No. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. No, I don't think I could have done that.
Awful. I had a job. I was on scholarship, too, but I had no choice. So it was poor,
Yeah. I know.
Being poor is, it's like another sentence that they put on you when you're going to school. When you have resources, it makes it a little bit different. Thankfully.
Yeah, we're
very blessed.
Sam and I are definitely lucky in that sense because even our parents do so much for us, and I would not be able to be here or pass the NCLEX without my parents because they were paying for my living, and even for the test. The test itself is $300 to take.
Yeah.
So
on top of not working for 45 days, you have to pay $300 just to take it again.
Yeah.
So it's like,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, this is great. Is anything else you want to say to anybody that's out there about this whole process?
Oh my gosh, yes.
I feel like I could talk about it for
me too. I would just say if you're going through something that I did, like failing a couple times or even once, you're gonna feel like your world is absolutely ending. Yeah. But just tell yourself, you're going to be a nurse. You're going to get through it. It just is a matter of time when you pass the test. Take pressure off yourself because it's not doing any good for you at all. You're going to add to it. It's going to make you worse. It's going to stress you out. And you all got it. If I can do it, so can y'all. I promise.
Yeah, I would probably add on to that and say, when people say the best things come to those who wait, that is the most true thing ever. Even through nursing school, it's you're constantly waiting to take this test or waiting to take this test or the NCLEX. And then after you're waiting to hear your results and then you're waiting to start work. And it's there's just a lot of waiting period. And so like she said, you just have to know you're going to do it. And I'm still waiting, I'm waiting, to get to the best nurse I can be. But there's just a lot of patience involved, but just know you're doing everything you should be doing.
And everyone's journey is going to be different. Yes. I mean, I'm roommates with Sam, and us going through this at the same time, it was crazy.
Yeah,
but
and don't listen to your friends who pass, and all the gloating and everything. Don't let it get to you if you don't pass. It's not worth it. It's stupid just to have. 2 letters. After your name.
I know. When you already did the hard part.
Yeah, you already did everything you need to do. You don't need those 2 letters to, validate that.
Well, I'll tell you a story. I was impressed. The first time I really met you was at a dinner to celebrate her. And I'll tell you, I felt really bad being there in celebration of her, but you had so much grace. And that's a hard thing to come by, especially at such a young age. But it's part of you. It's built into your heart. You can tell when you meet somebody like that. And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that we were at the table with somebody and one passed and one didn't. And you couldn't tell the difference between, and you guys were just being yourselves,
Yeah, that was a big part too. Because even though she was with me when I got my pass, And so, and like, she was excited, and she was like, nothing, like, I could tell, like, nothing in her mind was like, you know, jealousy or, you know, spitefulness. And then she went to dinner with me to celebrate. Like, you just have to like realize that like everyone's so different in what they're going through, and like there's nothing wrong with you, or you didn't do anything wrong. Like, I could have easily failed. I could have easily still not passed it.
Yeah.
And like, it's fine.
I just think like, I don't know. It wasn't hard to be like that because we went through the same nursing school. I knew everything she went through, and it was not easy at all. So I think I didn't even think about myself like that because I knew how hard it is to overcome that and to pass that test. And yeah, I mean, it was a good moment because we were so close to our classmates.
Yeah.
Like, I was so happy for everyone who passed just because I knew how much work everyone had put in. And so, and it's not going to do any good to think about yourself, and it's just dumb.
And our nursing class was small. And so we went through everything together. We went through like a bunch of crap together, and like,
we got close.
Yeah, we all got really close really quick. And like, because we all were going through the same struggles. And at that point, it's like, it doesn't, like, I would never look at a person and be like, oh my God, they didn't pass. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
No.
It's so much hard work to even get like through nursing school.
To graduate. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about it like it's easy, but there's a lot of really spiteful people out there.
Yeah.
They do, they don't. And no matter what comes into your mind, because you can't help the thoughts that originate in your mind, it's what you do with them. Right?
Exactly.
And that's how you cope. And it's also how many people get that opportunity to show character like that. You know, you don't get that, especially you made an impression on me the first time. That's hard to do, I'll tell you. I don't give people the benefit of the doubt.
Doesn't.
I just don't. And so, you know when you have true character because of somebody's behavior in the worst times. You know, I knew that was a bad time for you.
Yeah.
I was sitting there in awe. I mean, you know, I didn't think I could ever do that. I'd probably be not going to dinner. I'd probably stay in bed.
Yeah, literally.
You know?
Our classmates, we joke about that we're all trauma bonded together because nursing school is quite brutal.
Yeah.
And so I look at everyone like we're related. And so I think it's just easier to be happier.
Yeah. And like, we just moved in together at that point too. So it really showed like who Cam was as a person for sure. Because I was like, crap, like I passed, and like I was kind of feeling guilty, and like the way she was just so happy for me, like it was just like, yeah.
That's what good people do.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's what I was saying. Those are the reasons that when I talk to you, that I say that there's so much to be found in failure. I mean, you make an impression on people you wouldn't have been able to make. There's just all this stuff that you don't probably even think about or know you did. It's just, and it's all, you were just trying to get through it and figure it out. And I don't know, I think you'll see what I mean, especially as you go through life. That doesn't come so easy to some people. And they will disappoint you in their behavior, and it'll make it about them.
Yeah.
You know? But it's a lot easier when it's about somebody else, I think.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was a good distraction and also motivation.
Yeah. Like, it's good to see like me passing so you can look forward to that.
Yeah, for sure. And all my classmates and everyone. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I think it was good. And also there's some of our classmates who were going through the same thing I was going through.
Oh, good.
So I talked to them, and then there's friends in the past who've gone through the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think if you find people like that who've gone through the same thing,
for sure,
that helps as well.
Yeah.
Just to hear both sides of it. But
So surround yourself with people from different viewpoints. And
yeah.
it's good. Nursing, I mean, why not go to your class? I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
They understand, right?
I mean, I only talk to people that I went to nursing school with after.
Yeah.
Because no one understands.
No,
it's really hard. Like, it's like everyone's excited for you, but like they have no idea what goes into it.
Oh my gosh.
And like, I feel like nursing gets such a easy almost perception of like, it's an easy, you know.
I got you. Yeah, people think it's easy.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, you're not a doctor, you're a nurse. You know, that kind of stigma.
Gosh.
Yeah, it just grinds my gears. But like, they don't understand like how much hard work and dedication goes into it, and like passing this huge test.
Yeah, you don't want to grind your gears.
No.
Everyone's like, I'm about to get up out of the seat.
No, I mean, I think that, you know, you get into civil service like firefighters and police officers, they have the same sort of closeness. I mean, residents who go through, you know, medical schools, same thing. I think that's what you're talking about, is you guys grind through the stuff together and you make it, and then ultimately you have this bond that nobody else understands, and it makes you feel that much closer. So, I mean, I understand why you felt the way you did, I did too at that age. It's really, really wonderful. And by the way, it doesn't happen that much in life when you get that opportunity. So it is special.
Yeah.
What you went through.
I feel like it's the same with new grads. Like you're just all like
trying to get through 1 hour of the shift at a time.
Right.
Yeah. And we're all going through the same thing. And it's like, I don't know how to do this, but I'll help you because I just learned how to do this. So you know?
I know. Or if not, like, I know a lot of people are like, okay, I don't know how to do it, but let's go be clueless together because surely that's a little bit of support.
Well, you know, it's a book. It's called Who Not What, and if you know the who's, then you don't have to know the what sometimes because like there's so many brains that are out there that you can tap into and not just have to rely on yours. I think the art of being successful could be the art of how you network and create relationships with people who do know the answers. So,
for sure.
Anyway, well, thank you. Thank you for doing this again. And congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll check in later.
Okay. Bye.
Hey, this is your host, Danny Mobley. Thanks for watching Humans of Healthcare. Please subscribe below for more great interviews.